What are you most afraid of these days?
I don't know. I mean, the big, death, I guess.
Are you afraid of death?
I mean, yeah, I'd say I'm afraid of severe pain. Like, I don't like feeling pain any more than anybody else, really.
Were you afraid of death before you started a family?
I've never wanted to die. I mean, I love being alive. The thing with free soloing is it's not like a death wish. In some ways, the real pleasure of free soloing is taking something that seems like it should be really, really scary and then making it feel safe. Because like on your best climbs, you feel good while you're doing it, but you're doing something that seems like it should be very, very scary. But, that's what makes it magical, is because it doesn't feel scary when you do it well.
Right. But before you started having a family, did you look at your profession differently than after having a family?
Not so far, but I mean, right now, my daughter will be 2 soon, and I feel like we're just starting to have like a nice relationship. Maybe in the last 6 months, I feel like we're actually we're having a good time and playing.
Bonding.
We're bonding. Yeah, we're like, she's like my buddy now. Like, we do stuff, and it's awesome. And so I wouldn't be surprised if, as that relationship grows, my perspective around risk and climbing and stuff changes a little bit.
Really?
But maybe not, because I've been in serious relationships with romantic partners throughout all the hardest climbing I've done. So.
And didn't change the way you would address like the things you wanted to tackle and take on?
No, not really.
Really?
Though I wouldn't be surprised though if children, like, having dependence is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Just because romantic partners in some ways seem a little bit more disposable,
not
to be too than children.
It's different,
because you have a real responsibility to raise your child. With a romantic partner, you're kind of like, well, I mean, there are a lot of people out there.
Exactly.
Like, no matter how incredible your partner is, you're kind of like, I don't feel as beholden to them as I do a child.
Yeah, of course. Did you have any fear around having your first child?
No, I've definitely always wanted a family. And
yeah.
That's the thing, is that even through all the extreme free soloing and whatever, I've always, wanted to be an old person with grandkids at some point.
Really?
There's seasons to life. I mean, you can't just like do the hardest, craziest thing forever. And why would you want to? Wow. You get so tired. It's like, it's funny. I've had this conversation about, this is a whole aside, but so, I'm at the point in life, I'm 38. A lot of my friends are a little bit older, but similar range of life. And so a lot of my friends are starting families right now. And there are a handful of professional climbers, around my age, who have partners who like really want to start a family, but they're kind of like not sure. They still have some things they want to do. And, there's like this tension between like, do we start having kids? And a conversation I've had with several of my friends who are professional climbers is that, I've been a professional climber for 15 years, and it's been amazing, and I love it. And I've been going so hard for 15 years, or actually a little more than that now, like 17 years or something. But I'm 38, so realistically, I could keep going at roughly the same pace into my 50s probably, because climbing has more longevity than most sports because it's relatively low impact on your body and you don't really get injured. And so you can go pretty hard for a long time.
Wow.
But so if I doubled what I've done, that'd get me to 55. But then I'd still have 40 more years of life potentially before I die. And you're kind of like, there's no way I could do it 2 more times after that.
Wow.
It's like, you'd be so tired. And just the idea of taking everything that I've done in the last 15, 17 years and then doing it all again, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to.
Right.
It's so much.
Really?
I mean,
And probably the more times you do these things, yes, you get more skilled at it and better at it, but it's also more chances of an injury, more chances of something bad happening too, right?
Yeah, and I would think also just a little bit less passion for it. Because like, if you've just
You've done it all.
Yeah, I haven't done it all, and there are always like other things to do and other challenges, but I have done most of the things that I've dreamt of my whole life. So,
done a lot.
Like, I can dream up new things, but do they mean as much as the things that I dreamt about since I was a kid? Mm-hmm. It's like, when you just keep adding more things onto your list because you're like, I don't want the list to end. Is that cool? Like,
for a bigger mountain and a new place, it's going to be freezing. I'm going to be naked climbing.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, do I need that? I'm like, I don't know if I need that.
Right.
There are plenty of climbing challenges I'm still interested in, things that I'm working on and whatever. But, I have done a lot of things that I want to do.
What about, this profession is a dangerous profession. You've had a lot of people that have lost their lives over the years, right? A lot of people that you're close with or people that you climbed with or knew of. How dangerous is this sport really?
Well, yeah, I've definitely known I've known a lot of people who've died climbing, but part of that is also because as a professional climber, you know everybody. So any kind of accident, you at least tangentially know the people involved probably. I mean, climbing is interesting because it's very high consequence. So if you have an accident, it can often be fatal, but you very rarely have accidents. And so I contrast climbing against a sport like mountain biking, let's say, where people break their clavicle like every other season.
Right.
So, I mean, I kind of prefer a sport like climbing where you basically never get injured, but you're always facing a tiny, tiny risk that you could die.
Wow.
If you did something wrong, or if a lapse of attention or whatever. Like, there's always the chance you could die. And there's always the chance of like minor injuries and things. But realistically, if you're just a casual climber that climbs in the gym and goes sport climbing outside on the weekends and stuff, you'll probably go your whole life without ever being injured or witnessing a serious accident. Whereas if you're a serious mountain biker, you're going to get hurt every year. Like,
really?
It's just,
Something's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, gravity-assisted sports, like if you're an elite skier, you're getting injured every season. Or like every couple seasons.
Right. You may not die.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what I was going to say, is that like as a mountain biker, skier, things like that, it's very rare that you die. I mean, you can, but it's not common, but you're always going to get injured. I kind of prefer the other risk profile where it's like you're never going to have little injuries, but there's always the risk you could die.
Wow.
I think it's a little more heightened.
Tell me, yeah, it's very heightened.
Yeah.
Is there something about that that excites you? That like, I could go up this right now and not come back?
Well, it's not that it excites me, but I think it demands a certain level of attention and focus. And I just don't want to break my clavicle every year. Like, I don't want to like separate my AC joint, like break my shoulders. It's like, I mean, I have friends that have all been hurt biking and doing different things. And you're kind of like, I don't want that. Like,
yeah.
I love climbing and I don't want to take time off because I, broke my arm doing something stupid like skiing and biking or whatever.
What is the thing you think about when you have a long climb and the stakes are high? What is the thing that you're thinking about? Are you thinking about the end? Are you thinking about moment by moment? Are you thinking about the next few moments? Are you distracted, putting your mind in a different place? Where does your mind go?
Yeah, it depends. So say on El Cap specifically, like free soloing El Cap, the route on El Cap can be broken down roughly as a third easy, a third medium climbing, and a third hard, just sort of interspersed throughout the 3,000 feet. Like some of it is easy, but then some of it's very hard. So on the easy terrain, my mind can just kind of wander and you can think about whatever you want. On the medium terrain, you kind of have to focus a little more. And then on the very hard terrain, you're basically just focused on the movement. And you're not even necessarily thinking about the movement. You're just doing the movement and your mind is just sort of empty. But I think the easiest way to understand that is if you compare it to running or something. Let's say I think most people have had experience running pretty hard. And if you're casually jogging, then you can like look around and enjoy things. But if you're sprinting as hard as you can sprint, then you're really not thinking about anything. You're just trying to keep breathing and keep your feet under you, and that's it. You're just doing the thing.
You're second by second. You're just focused on that second. Yeah.
You're just hoping your lungs don't explode while you're like going as hard as you can. And I mean, so I think that's a pretty similar. I think it's a good analogy. Mm-hmm. Where like basically depending on the level of intensity, you have more or less. You focus more or less. And I think, people are like, oh, well, if you're distracted on the easy parts, like, is that dangerous? You're like, yeah, you don't want to be completely complacent. You don't want to just like slip and fall off because you're not paying any attention.
Right.
But it's the same way, like when you're driving in like casual conditions, your mind can be thinking about anything else. And you can just trust your body to do the thing that you've been doing your whole life.
Yeah. Sometimes you drive somewhere and you're like, how did I get here?
Totally.
You get to the end spot. You're like, I don't remember getting here.
Totally.
It's like, but your body and your mind knows where to go.
Yeah,
and you're paying attention.
And you're doing something that you've practiced for possibly many hours a day for your entire life, which is funny. Nobody thinks of driving that way, but it is something that you basically practice, maybe not in an intentional level and not like in a structured way, but you do have a lot of experience with it over your life, especially like living in LA. I mean, if you're driving for like hours a day that you're practicing this thing that you don't want to do. So I don't know. I mean, I think it makes sense that it's something you've practiced that much, you can just execute on autopilot.
Yeah. But before you go up on something challenging, are you visualizing it? Are you, on El Cap, obviously you talked about the whole process of like going up there, doing the moves, like you had a journal, you're like going over everything, but just on maybe a normal challenging adventure, how do you approach that?
It depends. So in climbing, basically depends whether I've prepared for it or not, because there's some climbs that you intentionally don't practice and train for, but climbs all have ratings, like difficulties assigned to them. And so there's certain things that are so far within your comfort zone that you just kind of know that you can go up there and deal with whatever you find. And so in that case, you don't necessarily visualize or practice or do anything ahead of time, because you just know that it's within your comfort zone. But if something is a hard enough rating that it's like, on the edge of your comfort zone or beyond it, then you kind of have to employ all the techniques I was using on El Cap, like, actual rappelling in and preparing and practicing and memorizing moves and then visualizing the moves and rehearsing and just all the things. And so, yeah, it just depends on what level of challenge you're looking for.
From the moment you said, I'm going to climb El Cap, to the actual day you did it, how much time was that? When you made the decision, this is going to happen, how much time was that?
Well, a decision like I'm going to do it, or the
Not the dream.
I want to do it?
Well, both. What was the dream? But then like, okay, I feel ready. Now I'm going to actually train for it.
Yeah, okay. So in 2008, I soloed the Northwest Face of Half Dome, which is like a 2,000 foot wall. And as soon as I did that, I was kind of like, oh, El Cap is the next obvious thing. So starting in 2009, I was like, El Cap this year. But it was, but then I drove into the valley, looked at El Cap and was like, there is no way. It's like totally out of the question. It's way too much, too scary. It's too crazy. And so then from 2009, for the next, I guess, 6 years or so, I kept thinking each year that like, this is the year, like maybe this is.
Really?
But I kept kind of just hoping that I would drive into Yosemite and I'd look at the wall and it would look easy.
It never did.
No, and it's funny because even now, having done it, I look at it, it still doesn't look easy.
Like, how did I do that? That was crazy.
Totally. It's, it looks insane no matter what. But so I spent years kind of hoping that I would just somehow get a little better and it would just look easy. And so then by 2015, so that's now, 6 years later of having this dream.
And you were climbing it also, right?
Yeah, I was climbing with ropes and with partners and doing speed records and doing all kinds of things.
With ropes, yeah. So you were doing it.
But I was doing plenty of other walls without ropes and things, Like I was a professional climber, so I was trying really hard. I was doing all kinds of things. And I was just hoping that by doing all these things, eventually El Cap would look easy.
You'd be like, yeah, I got this, no big deal.
Yeah. It's not like I just drove in and was like, I hope it changed. It's like I was like grinding like all year, going on expeditions, like climbing hard routes, free soloing big walls, like doing film prep, like doing all this stuff.
For years.
Yeah, for years. Hoping that at some point El Cap would look chill. And it just never did. So then by 2015, I finally sort of accepted that it was never going to be easy and that I should probably just start doing the prep work specifically. Like basically start acting as if I was going to do it, even if I didn't really know if I could do it, and just see what would happen. And then by sheer coincidence, the film directing duo, like Jimmy Chin and Chai Vesarelli, the people who co-directed the film Free Solo, approached me that year by doing a feature documentary. And so as a professional climber, you're like, oh, cool, somebody wants to make a movie about me climbing something. Like it makes sense that, I've had this dream that I want to work on forever, and now some people show up wanting to like basically help me work on a dream project. I'm like, this is perfect. And so then we made the film Free Solo.
If they didn't approach you to do this film, do you think you would have done El Cap?
I think I still would have, but I think it actually would have been, well, it would have been harder in some ways, but then also easier in other ways. Because obviously the stress, the pressure of a film project doesn't really help with something like that in some ways. But actually it does help a lot with some of the nitty gritty, like the logistics, like carrying rope to the summit of the wall, rappelling in, working on sections, pulling the rope back out afterwards, stashing stuff, like moving equipment. It does help to have friends and partners involved who are like working on the same project with you.
So you're not just alone out there.
Yeah, well, no, I just mean the actual like weight of like, so carrying 1,200 feet of rope to the summit of the wall, each spool of rope is, 50 to 75 pounds. Like basically it represents days of effort.
Just to get out there.
Yeah, just to
not
get
even
to the top of the
climbing
wall,
up there.
get your stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's just a lot of work. And so having a team, you can spread out the work a little bit better.
Wow.
And it was helpful for me to have people that I could talk to about it. And because free soloing, you normally keep it pretty low key because nobody wants to hear about your soloing projects.
Really?
No, because everyone's like, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't do that. Like no
one's encouraging you.
Yeah, no one's encouraging you
to climb thousands of feet in the air without a rope.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you have a dream like that, that's kind of a fragile dream, like you don't totally believe you can do it, and then all of your friends are constantly telling you shouldn't do it, you're never gonna try. So you want to keep it like pretty close to the chest.
So you don't tell people your dreams.
No, not for free soloing stuff.
You're just maybe like one person, like this is something I'm thinking about, and they got your...
Not even really.
Really?
Well, with El Cap, I mean, not really. Maybe some like hypothetical conversations with friends over the years, but never like a...
Really?
Yeah. Because it's just like, because it's too much. It's too crazy.
So you couldn't tell anyone, I guess your girlfriend at the time, she knew.
Yeah, well, that was the thing with the film project, is that once we're doing the film project, then obviously all the people involved with the film know what's going on. And then you bring in a few people because you're filming with them, like climbing partners. And basically, because we were doing the film project, it sort of opened the net wide enough that I was able to talk to a handful of people about it, get some advice, and like, which turned out helping a bit.
But otherwise, no one would have known. You would have just rehearsed and practiced for months.
Almost all of my other major free solos were done basically alone.
With no one knowing.
Well, some, I mean, with varying degrees, because for certain routes, you need a partner to work on them with you.
Right.
And that's the thing, like with El Cap, it's so big. Like I knew that I would need partners to help, like going up and down and rappelling the wall. Like rappelling the whole wall by yourself, like you can do it, but it's a grind. And doing it over and over is a bit of a recipe for disaster. Like it helps to have somebody with you just to manage the ropes and have the gear and all the stuff. And so it just helps to have a film crew with it, because, you know, like you might have some really good friends who are willing to go up there with you a couple days, but they're not going to go up there with you for months, because like nobody's that good a friend.
Right.
You know, so they're kind of like, okay, like that was
unless you're paying me, I'll go up once or twice.
Exactly.
But yeah, I got a life.
Yeah, exactly. They have, and it's like hard work hiking to the top of the wall and rappelling down a big wall over and over. Like it's not.
This is like,
it's not an easy day.
You know, sunrise to sundown type of thing, like all day.
Well, it's actually more like way pre-sunrise, like very, very early, and then trying to be down by
before sunset.
Before the sun hits certain parts of the wall, but so it's more like a 4 to 2 kind of, you know, 4 a.m. to like 2 p.m. operation on the wall every day.
For that's like every day for months?
No, I mean like a couple days a week. I mean, they're really big days, so you have to rest.
Okay, so you had the dream kind of hypothetical since 2008 or 9, but then you realized, oh, this is actually the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life, probably. At one of my thinking, that's a crazy dream, but ever you come back, you train, you try other stuff, you come back, hoping to look at the wall and thinking, I got this. For years, you didn't have it.
Yeah.
Until the point where you said, maybe I've got this. And then the film crew said...
Not even necessarily maybe I've got this, more like, you know what, I'll never know if I've got this or not unless I try. Because I kept kind of hoping that it would look easy before I put in the work. And finally I realized I had to flip it and put in the work before it would look easy.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy this and you want more inspirational content, make sure to click the subscribe button below and click right here to watch what's coming next.